Hopefully some people down here know me. My husband is Chase Erdman, who will be here, I promise. Not tonight. He's up at work in Alaska. But he's going to join us for the next couple nights, which will be really awesome to have him here for that. So I'm just like the intro, and I'm going to do like the big picture so you guys have a clue, maybe what we're going to be talking about. And then the next couple days, we'll go over more detail and get into the Word a little bit more. So thank you for coming to spend your time here, or if you're on YouTube, or if you choose to watch it later. And congratulations for deciding to come learn and grow in the Word. I know it's been huge for me, so never thought I'd be in this position. I was out there, but yeah. And thank you to Pastor David and Tanya for trusting me to hold this thing. So we're going to talk about vertical alignment. And vertical alignment is about relationships. And like T said, it is God's intention that we have and build relationships. They're important, they're necessary, they're difficult, they can be messy, but we need them. We need them for our well-being. God doesn't just ask us to love people, he commands us to love people. And I was thinking about the Great Commission, actually just today, and Jesus said he has all the authority of heaven and earth. He's given that to us, and what are we supposed to do with that? Go out and make disciples. And Tanya actually put it a great way when she said, live an activated Christian life, and I love that. And you can't do that without building relationships. There's a saying you've probably heard, I've heard it 100 times, but it's really true that people do not care how much you know until they know how much you care. So if you can't build that relationship, teaching people about God's commandments and the Word, it just may not go as far as you would like it to go. So that's something Chase and I have strived for, and with this tool that we're going to teach you, hopefully it can help. We did not come up with the tool. This is not something that like we invented or created. It was taught to us, and we just chose to implement it and have had like amazing blessings from that. I'm not a counselor, a psychologist, an expert by any means, so I'm not here to tell you what to do, just tell you what we did. And if you apply it, I know that you'll get the same blessing, because God is no respecter of persons, so it's going to work for you. We've been implementing this tool I'm going to teach you for probably 12 years now. So we've grown a lot in it. It has not always been easy. It is not going to make your relationships just perfect and smooth, but it certainly made ours less complicated and less messy. And I'm going to give you an example right away just to humble myself a little bit and let you know how non-perfect that we are, as hard as we work. But the first time Chase and I sat down to teach this class, or to get like our notes together to teach this class, we like immediately butted heads. And I am the preparer and the planner of the family, and Chase is not. He's like the total winger, just kind of go with the flow. And so we were sitting down just bouncing ideas off each other, talking about stories, things we've been through. And I was like, wait, so we got to go get my notebook. Like, I need to start writing this stuff down. And he was like, no, we're just talking. You don't need to get your notebook. And I was like offended, like, don't insult my notebook. I'm getting my notebook. And he's like, why can't we talk? And anyways, that's how we started this whole class. But it didn't end up being a big deal. We laugh about it, and here we are now. So I just want to tell you a little bit about our story, kind of where we came from, before I get into what vertical alignment is, so you can see the change that it's made for us. Our story is that we both grew up in broken homes, families that were divorced, awesome moms who worked really hard and loved us and cared for us, but had to work so hard they often weren't there for us. So it just kind of normal society today, really. That's how we grew up. So we didn't have solid examples of marriage, of relationship, of anything like that. So we started dating in high school. And actually, God bless Chase for putting up with my crap for so long to even get me to date him. But I was a very cynical, not very nice person. then, and like my whole motto was in life was like, don't get your hopes up, then they can't get let down. And that's just where I was in life. Neither of us were following God. And I didn't even want to date him because I was like, it's just gonna get messed up anyway, And I really liked him and I cared about him. So my response was, well, no, I can't date you because I like you. So yeah, that's where I was. Miracles happen, people. So fast forward, he finally got me to date him. I don't even know how. And we had a good time, but it was, it was rough. We dated for about a year and a half, then went through a major breakup, whole like traumatic experience. Like we had moved away together, broke up there, and had to come back and separate, and just crazy to think about all the things that happened. And then a few months later, by God's grace, we reconnected and decided, let's give this another shot. Thank God that not too long after that, through like a friend of a friend who worked with a friend of Chase's mom, we were connected with a couple who we went into a direct sales business with. We started an Amway business with. And at the time, it was like I saw that negative attitude. We still weren't following God, and I was like, oh, this is so stupid. This is going to fail. That's just how it was. And I want to sidestep here just for a minute, because if there's someone in your life who is starting a new venture, whatever it is, whether you think it'll work or not, just encourage them, as long as it's moral and legal. Just encourage them, because you do not know where that path is going to lead. We were criticized and made fun of a lot for what we were doing. Thank God we stuck on it, because that's how we found God again, and ultimately that's how we're here at Strong Tower. So yeah, definitely praise God for that. So the coaching and mentorship that we received within that business, we were placed, again, by God's grace, always, into a coaching organization that was founded by Christian men. So we didn't even know it at the time, but our mentorship was based in the Word. We started to look around and see the results of relationships of these people, like wives who treated their husbands like with respect, men who loved their wives, and kindness, kids who were growing up and actually like wanted to hang out with their parents and wanted to like seek them for guidance, and just things that we weren't used to seeing. And Chase and I were like, okay, like this is what we need. This is what we want, these kind of relationships. So then we wanted to know, okay, what do these people know? Well, eventually we went to a seminar, and this concept, vertical alignment, was shown to us. And then we realized, it was like our aha moment, like, okay, this is where we've been doing it wrong. Again, we weren't following God, so we were using this principle. And it took us a little while, I'll be honest. Probably like a couple years to really gain traction with it and to really put God into it and make it work right. So I am going to draw. If it doesn't show up on YouTube, I can get you like a screenshot of it or something. We can add it later. I want to show it to you like old school and write it down on like the old whiteboard, just the exact way that it was shown to us, because it just had more impact that way. Hopefully I can hold this and write. Okay. So vertical alignment is your priority of relationships. Priority in time, in love, in money, just giving of yourself, your time and talents, how you prioritize that. And I didn't even know you should prioritize that. But when I really looked at it, and this is how it was presented to me, like the man who showed us how what his alignment looked like before he learned this principle. And so this is what my personal alignment looked like first. Who was at the top? Yeah, that was me right there. Good old number one. That's how I viewed it too, like looking out for good old number one. Just again, the examples that we had in life, I was like, I'm just looking out for me, not for anybody else. And then for me, after that, at this current time in my life, it was work and coworkers. I was going to college, like getting into my career and pretty serious about that. And then because I was like so involved in work, then coworkers kind of became my priority too, where it's like, oh, if they wanted to hang out after work, that's what I was going to go do. If they wanted to get together on weekends, or I'd listen to them instead of other people in my life, or Chase, whatever they had to say to me all day long, kind of started to pick up bad habits, things like that. And I'll give an example of this too, put myself on the spot. Chase was at work and didn't want me to go on this big backpack trip with this big group of people. He was coming home or something. I can't remember the exact circumstance. But I decided I'm going to go anyway. It's what I want to do, and it's what my coworkers want me to do. It didn't matter what Chase had to say about that. So again, that's truth. That's just where we were. After that, probably came, this kind of was my life. Like, there was probably a lot of stuff in here. But Chase was like way down here somewhere, just whenever I kind of wanted to acknowledge him. It's kind of sad, but that's how it was. Like I said, thank God he put up with me for so long. So this is kind of what it looked like. And I think about Proverbs when I see this. 1090, not this year, but last year my family studied Proverbs. So if you've studied Proverbs, you know all about the fool. And that was me. I was the total fool. And I can read some of those scriptures and be like, aha, yep, that was so me. I was unrighteous. I was, because God, like I said, he wasn't even in there anywhere. I was very undisciplined, just did whatever I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, and unwise. And I think it was like Proverbs 12. I might have wrote it down. I'm not even staying on my notes, just so you guys all know. I think it's like Proverbs 12:15 or something. That the fool, like the fool's plan seems right to him. And for sure, I was like, I looked at this and I was like, then I thought, yes, this is how I'm going to get my results, because everybody else was failing in relationship around me. I thought, okay, if I put myself first and focus on work and just, take care of number one, then I'm going to get my results that I want in life. And, it just can't fail that way, right? Well, it was failing. It was failing pretty ugly, actually. So then we were shown this. This is what God intended it to be, and this is actually how the Word lays it out. So obviously, the greatest commandment, love God. Put him first. I mean, says it all there. And then spouse. And by this time in our story, we were newlyweds too. We got married somehow, even though we were like not getting along very well and very nice to each other. And we were newlyweds, and it was really rocky. And then, like I said, we started seeing all these relationships and marriages that were working, and we're like, we need to do something different. So this is how they were doing it: God, then spouse, which was like a big deal for me. And then we didn't have kids yet, but then here's where kids go. I know that's hard in this society some days too, is to have kids down here. I know when we started having kids, I was looking around me and really pressured to make kids my priority rather than my God and rather than my husband. So this right here is vertical alignment, and this is like the non-negotiable, the foundation. The way I look at this now after Pastor David's teaching on oikos is this is like my foundation, and then I can build my oikos like on top of that, and it might be more dynamic and fluid, but this is not going to change. And if you're not married now or you don't have kids, that's okay. Maybe you will be someday, so it's better to learn it now and like have this right than try to do it in the middle of it like we were. But one thing we were is committed. Once we saw this, we were like, okay, out with the old, in with the new. This is what we're going to do now. Like I said, it took a couple years to even start to get it right. And God was the biggest piece in that for us. And then some people might look at this and say, well, where does self go? Where does self go in there? And I know that you got to take care of you and you can't pour out if you're not being filled. But what I found is, I promise you, if this is right, then you are going to be filled. You are going to be like overflowing when you have this right. Yeah, that's just what I found. That fills me right there. And then I really liked, speaking of out with the old and in with the new, the scripture that Pastor David used last Wednesday, and I think I did actually write that down. 2 Corinthians 5:17, that in Christ you are made new. Yep. And boy, we hung on to that, like just really tried to let go of the old and not even really look back to this. I mean, that was done. It was time, and this is actually what I was told, Dana, it is time to draw a line and just to move forward. So we didn't play the, oh yeah, well, remember back when you went on that trip and I didn't want you to. I mean, we just let that go. And that was huge for us to really start to put that principle in play. So I would encourage you there. I just want to share a little bit of what has happened since we've done that. First of all, obviously, our relationship with God. Here we are at Strong Tower with all of you. Yes. And now we've got even more examples of all these strong families that we can still learn from and grow with. So obviously, that's a huge blessing. And I have tried my life without God, and I've tried it with. And it is so much better. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. It is so much better with God in like every way. Our marriage, obviously, we're still married. Like, yeah, we've been married for over 10 years now, and nobody thought that would happen. We didn't think that would happen. I know, yeah, no more fool here. And our relationship never really grows old, and we're committed to constantly growing and working on it with each other. And then our kids, we've got very loved and loving kids who actually want to be around us. Like I said, that respect us and actually want to ask us questions and get guidance. And I'll just be really honest. My mother knows I love her, and she's an amazing lady. Works so hard for us, but I did not want to ask her for advice just because she didn't have that fruit on the tree. And to have my kids look at me and actually want to know what I know and have me help them is a really big blessing. And my mom, our mothers and our family have benefited from what we're learning, and we can share with them too. So trust me, everybody's happy. And then just all our relationships, because that is right, we're stronger in all our relationships, how we deal with people, how we treat people, and we can be a positive influence as well, be that shining light. And then I didn't plan on sharing this originally, but I'm going to, since you talked about debt last week too. Apparently I really listened to you last week. Even financially, we have benefited from following this principle. Obviously, God, we tithe. And we've seen amazing blessing and favor from tithing. And with mentorship and counsel, we paid off within that, it's probably about, 6 years, $93,000 in debt. And and we started tithing about in the middle of that. So we were kind of like, oh gosh, this is already hard. And added tithing, it's awesome, we're done. But because Chase and I were on the same page, and we talked about it, and made it a priority in our lives to get our finances together, to tithe and stuff, we don't fight about money anymore. That's nice. We've still got our mortgage. That'll be paid off soon. So we don't even fight about money anymore. I know that's a huge stressor in some relationships. And our kids see that. And Brody he keeps us on track because he hears those conversations and he knows about debt. And, we've read about it in the Word. And I've never seen a 9-year-old that's, when you're planning his birthday party, I need to know the prices, and I need to make sure that's not too expensive. And he vetoed a birthday idea because he's like, I think that's too expensive. I know. We made a savings plan so he could have that birthday party, by the way. But yeah, just blessings all over the place, getting all that right, and everything that we do. So yeah, back to out with the old and with the new. That is my prayer for you guys. If we can help anybody, it's just to move forward, take what you need, leave what you don't, and just, I encourage you, like, sit down and really honestly write your current vertical alignment out, and consider time, money, love, respect, like all those things. What does that actually look like? And then make a plan. Chase and I actually had to sit down and we started reading books and making a plan together about, okay, how are we actually going to make this work and put it into action? And then seeking mentorship, of course, too. We ask a lot of questions of a lot of people and really watch what other successful people do to make that work in our lives. And then Chase's favorite thing he's learned from Pastor David is, and scrub it against the word. Like, that's what we do. Scrub it against the word, making sure that whatever counsel, whatever reading, whatever we're doing is good with what's in here. And it's worked for us, so I pray it works for you. That's it for tonight.